The Section YY8 podcast is back. Tennessee wins over UAB this weekend at Neyland Stadium, a hot Neyland Stadium. And so we'll talk about that. We'll look ahead to the Vols going to Mississippi State, cocaine whiteout in Starkville this weekend. So we'll get into that, and we'll do our power rankings and hater and losers of the week. So a lot to get to. I'm Nice. That's Harb. Harb, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just enjoying this beautiful Sunday with the wonderful weather that we had today.
Yeah, storm this afternoon here in East Tennessee, but yesterday was hot down there at the stadium at the tailgate, and in the stadium. Although I got lucky and got invited up to the box about halfway through the second quarter, I think. So very thankful for that. Shout out to East 522 for getting me and my boy Tanner up there. Tanner's first time in the box, so he enjoyed that. I hope he did at least. So got up there and was able to cool off a little bit, but unfortunately left you and Holly and Zach hanging at the truck waiting on. So that was my bad.
Well, the way I thought it through was I can either sit in the stadium the whole game and be hot, or I can sit by the truck the rest of the game and be hot. So I stayed for the entirety of the game. I ended up in a section B in the shade at least, so it wasn't
Oh,
too bad.
nice.
Yeah, I was down there I was in there rubbing elbows with a little bit more of the bigger money.
There you go.
Yeah, I got out of the Granger County seats and got into the Sequoia Hills seats.
Well, you should have went over to the club seats that everybody bitches about being empty all the time. You ever notice that they only bitch about it during a game like yesterday when they're playing somebody that Tennessee's, superior to, and they're beating the heck out of, and they take pictures. They're like, "Look, nobody's here." Well, they took a picture. It was like 21 to nothing already, and it's 90 degrees. Where do you think they are? They're underneath in the AC. It was not like that. Big Montana even pointed it out against Georgia. He said, "Huh, what coincidence? The seats are full over there." So I get so tired of that. It's every Sunday and Monday after a game like that. They're taking pictures and sending them on Twitter to Danny White. You got to do something, Danny. You really think he's going to do anything about that? Give me a break.
I go
Give me a
I,
break.
I go both ways on it.
I'm tired of that, man. Those people paid for those tickets. They can do what they want. I mean,
I mean, people do cherry pick their argument with that.
they do. And it would be nice. And I'm not we don't know if those people are there or not. They could be down in the underneath for all we know.
The down under.
They're in the down under. Harb UAB yesterday, about what we expected. Vols did not cover. Line was 39.5, but it looked like UAB left their starters in most of the game. We were playing second and third string, but I think for the most part, Tennessee came out unscathed injury wise. I don't think not that I've heard of, I don't think they had any injuries, so that was good. Joey Aguilar put up some big numbers yesterday. Offense looked pretty good, did what they needed to do, and came out early and put their foot on UAB's throat and did what they needed to do.
Yeah, for the most part. Secondary's a weak point outside of Hood. Boo Carter had probably his best game.
Yeah,
He played really well. Um, if Joey Aguilar gets hurt at any point in this season, I think we're screwed.
yeah,
Just to be 100% honest
yeah.
with you. It's nothing personal against number 12, but it's kind of is what it is. But yeah,
Yeah.
offense looked good. Aguilar threw a pick, but it was a chicken shit pick. That's one of those ones when you start crunching numbers for who gets to go to New York in December, it might hurt him.
Yeah.
I say that halfway tongue in cheek, but you never know. He could be there. Yeah, yeah, we played fine. Like that, there's just not a whole lot of takeaways for me. I would give that game just a pretty solid B.
I'm with you. They did what they needed to do. Nothing
Yeah.
over the top. Honestly, I felt like they could have beat them a lot worse than they did.
Oh yeah.
They kind of took the foot off the gas, especially there toward the end of the first half. They were running the football and kind of slowed it down. And of course, in this pretty much the whole second half, the starters didn't play, so yeah, it could have been a lot worse than it was. But good win, 3-1 on the season. Now the tough part comes. They've got through most of the cupcakes. Only real cupcakes we got left is New Mexico State, probably Kentucky. But now is when you got to make your money. And it starts this weekend at Mississippi State. Bulldogs are undefeated, although they, which we'll talk about in power rankings later, have not really played anybody besides Arizona State. But cocaine whiteout this weekend in Starkville. Harb, Mississippi State's wearing white helmets, jerseys, pants, shoes. Haven't heard what Tennessee's wearing yet. A little early in the week for that. I would assume they're wearing orange. Kind of hope they wear the orange breeches like they did this weekend. Just wear that same uniform down there. Go all orange versus all white. Be a beautiful matchup.
It would be. I think it would be pretty funny if we wore the dark modes.
They wore the grays on the road at LSU. We mentioned that a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago in 22. I don't think they're going to wear grays on the road because I think they're saving those for later in the season
I'd
at
probably be the New
home.
Mexico State game.
I think it will because that's Veterans Day
Yeah.
weekend and that's Salute to Service weekend, and the jerseys are themed toward military this year. The grays are. So I don't. They could wear the black, I guess, like they did the grays on the road, but I feel like they're saving the blacks for that one game per year night mode game. So we'll see.
More than likely, the black jerseys are going to be Arkansas or Oklahoma.
That's what I think. And I
Wherever
don't
the,
honestly don't want them wearing black because I looked at the weather. It's supposed to be pretty warm in Starkville. I think mid to upper 80s this weekend. Games at 3:15 Central Time, 4:15 Eastern. So be warm. But we've been playing in warm football all year. But I don't know. I'd like to see the orange jerseys, orange pants versus the cocaine whites. I will be there in Starkville. So if you're picking the game, remember that. I have a horrible track record of road games, so hoping to reverse that. But looking at the matchup predictor, Tennessee 73.7% chance. Harb, you said the line. I couldn't find it, but you said it was what?
I saw it on X, the Everything app, at 9.5 is what it opened up as.
You think that's about right?
Yeah, I'm. It's hard to question Vegas with how good they get these things.
Yeah, they're usually pretty accurate.
Yeah. Speaking of, for all of you gamblers out there, the Los Angeles Rams plus 3.5
Yeah,
against the
it's
Philadelphia Eagles earlier is maybe the worst beat I've ever seen in my life.
yeah.
That was, I didn't even have any sweat on the game, and that made me want to vomit.
The well, we're doing a survivor pool, and John Doty picked the who were the Jets playing?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. And he sent me and my uncle a text and said New York Jets just 1990'd the game like Alabama did to Tennessee, and but the Bucks went down and kicked the field goal to win it, so he got bailed out. But he would have been eliminated if they didn't go down and get that field goal. But yeah, crazy day of block kicks at the end of the game. So looking at this game, Tennessee Mississippi State, just a brief breakdown for those that are listening. Mississippi State's 39th in FBS and total offense, 444 yards per game, 66th in passing, 31st in rushing, 27th in scoring at 39.8 points per game. Defensively, Mississippi State got some pretty good numbers. Now, keep in mind, they've not really played anybody besides Arizona State. Um, they are 26th in FBS and total defense, 265.5 yards per game, 14th in passing at 129 yards per game. Tennessee's well above that, what you'll see in a minute, passing yards per game. Rushing, they're giving up 136 and a half, which is 68th, and then scoring, they're giving up 11.8 per game. In contrast, Tennessee's offense, seventh in FBS total offense right now at 554, 337 passing yards per game, which is eighth, 216 yards on the ground, 27th, 53 and a half points per game, which this says is fourth. I thought I read somewhere else where that was number one, but this is from the AP, Associated Press. They're sometimes known for fake news. So, Tennessee defensively, though, these numbers are not good, Harbin.
No,
85th in FBS in total defense, 372 yards per game, 126th in passing yards per game at 279. Rushing defense, not bad, 93 yards a game, below 100. Pretty good, 26th. Scoring, we're giving up 27.8 points per game. That's 100th in the nation. It says both teams perform well on third down. State ranks 24th, converting 51%. Tennessee ranks 12th, converting 56. Anything above 50% on third down is really good. So both teams are pretty good on third down. Only other stat here is Tennessee is it even in the turnover margin. Mississippi State has a lot of penalties, 134th, 89 yards per game. Tennessee's 103rd. Ooh, this is bad. More bad defensive stats. 103rd in the FBS in red zone defense. Opponents have scored 92.3% of their trips into the red zone against Tennessee. Mississippi State's red zone offense ranks first, scoring 100% of the time. So there you go. Mississippi State, their offensive numbers, which is Jeff Lebby's an offensive coach, they're not all that great. Defensively, they're not bad. Tennessee offensively is really good, probably one of the elite offensive teams in the country right now. Defense, not so great, and you could probably contribute that to injuries. You're missing your two corners. Don't know where they stand for this week. You're missing your two defensive tackles. Don't know where they stand for this week. Neither played. None of those four played this past weekend. That doesn't help things on that side of the football. But I don't know. This is the first, besides Georgia. I mean, we've been tested. Mississippi State has not. This is their first big test of the year. They're playing a top 15 team. It's at home. So we're going to learn a lot about both of these teams this weekend. I think we know what Tennessee is at this point. They're really good offensively. They kind of bend but don't break defensively like they've always done under Tim Banks, but they're kind of playing shorthanded. But the guys are still making some plays out there. Even though their numbers don't look good, they're forcing some turnovers. They're sacking the quarterback a little bit. So I don't know, Harb. What do you think? What are you looking for this weekend besides a win?
um, well, first of all, I have to disagree with you. Mississippi State has been tested, and we can act like Arizona State's not very good because they're in the Big 12. It's a playoff team from last year. Still got the same quarterback, still got the same coach. Brought a lot of guys back, and they lost a few from last year, but Arizona State's not bad. They won at Baylor by 3, which is put that in the same category as Auburn, and
True.
they played Northern Arizona and Texas State on the opposite weeks of when they played in Starkville. I do think Arizona State's pretty good. I just kind of think they got upended a little bit. I don't think they're playoff worthy again, but I do think they're solid. Um, and I think numbers numbers don't lie, but they don't always tell the full story every time. You're talking about our defensive numbers, and yeah, our defense hasn't been great. Don't get me wrong, but every time I look at a team that has, just in our case, what, 4 blowout wins, and they're giving up a decent amount of pass yards, but their rush numbers are pretty good. All that tells me is you're up by 30 in the third quarter and they're slinging it against you, just trying to spark some momentum. So passing numbers are going to be slightly inflated based on that. With that being said, our defense isn't great. It is going to be a challenge. You got to stop the run, which hopefully we get at least one of the D tackles back this weekend. I love and hate how private UT is about injuries. It's
Okay.
like, and there's been some ridiculous rumors come up on Twitter. I don't know if you've seen them.
I've seen a few.
Like McCoy wants to play, his agent's telling him not to. Like Gibson could be out for the year, which that one doesn't necessarily shock me. I hope it's wrong. Um, but yeah, the rumor about McCoy, which that could be true.
It's hard to tell. I
But
mean, any more seriously, it's so hard to tell.
but
So
yeah,
I don't know if you noticed, but Mississippi State yesterday was trailing like about halfway through that game against Northern Illinois. They played Northern Illinois, right?
I don't think so.
Who did they play yesterday? Let's look. I got it right here. Yes, Northern Illinois. They won 38 to 10, but they were down 10 to 7, I believe, late in the second quarter. Let's see, they were up 7 to 3.
They were up 14 to 10 at halftime, so it's
Okay,
very
they were up
possible.
14 to 10, yeah. So unless no, I'm sorry, what happened was they were up 7 to 3. Northern Illinois scored to make it 10 to 7, and then they scored to make it 14 to 10 at the half. So yes, they were down in the second quarter 10 to 7. So, and I don't know anything about Northern Illinois Huskies. So yeah, it was 10 to 7 with 14 minutes to go. Looking at the highlights here.
The quarterback went 12 of 20 for 160 yards.
Yeah.
Shaping, I believe is how you say
Shapen,
that.
Blake Shapen. I think where did he transfer from? This is great podcasting again. Once again, Harbin, just fantastic podcasting by you and I.
I'm gonna guess that he transferred from Texas State.
You're in the right state.
Okay.
Baylor.
Oh, okay.
Looks like he's a fifth year senior or fifth year player. I don't know if he's a senior or not, but he was at Baylor for 3 years and now he's at State. But I mean, Tennessee's obviously on paper the better football team, but we all know we've seen this story before. Tennessee goes on the road under Josh Heupel. There's one of these games every year that we struggle with. Now, most of the time they're at night. This one's not at night. But we're going to be walking into I don't want to call it a hostile atmosphere, but it's not an easy place to play. I've never been there, so I can't speak for it like I can a lot of the others. But, you got the cowbell going on. But I was telling my dad today, he's like, how do they get away with that? And I said, well, they have to stop ringing the cowbell when the center puts his hand on the football. With Tennessee on offense, they're not going to have much time to ring cowbell. So, um, I don't think that will be much of a factor, honestly. But Tennessee's played in a lot of tough venues: Georgia, Florida, South Carolina to some extent, Alabama. So this is no different than any of those other places. And I know we got a new quarterback, but Joey Aguilar he's an older guy, sixth year guy. So I trust him at this point, I think, to handle things. And if it gets a little sideways early on, to keep things calm and move things along. I think Tennessee wins this game. I'm not going to say quite yet about the cover. I don't really care about that. I just want to win. JWTDG. But I think Tennessee wins this game and improves to 4-1. It's a big test though because first true road game of the year. I think Tennessee, even though FPI doesn't give us much of a shot currently to make the playoffs, the eyeball test tells me Tennessee is a playoff caliber team. I'm not saying they're a playoff team. I'm saying they're a playoff caliber team. I think Big Montana texted us yesterday and said, am I wrong to think that Tennessee's one of the top five teams in the country? I'm not sure I agree with that, but I definitely think you could have a conversation about them being a top 10 team. Absolutely top 15 where they're at, but FPI has them at 9. So,
I think
I
that's
mean,
pretty accurate.
yeah, I mean, I think it is. I mean, the way they're playing right now. And I know they've played UAB yesterday, but I mean, they came out and just dominated them in that first quarter like a really, really good team should.
In my
Um,
opinion, the only bona fide teams that are like pretty solidified to be in front of us right now are Georgia, Miami, Ohio State, and Oregon.
it's kind of crazy
I
in
don't think I left anybody out there.
it's kind of crazy in FPI. Miami's behind us.
So that's wild. They have a good resume.
It is. They're 4-0, but they're ranked 11th in the FPI, but they're projected to go 11-1. Um, Chance to win the conference is 51%. Chance to make the playoff is 60%, where Tennessee is projected to go 8.5 wins, 3.5 losses. 29.4% chance to make the playoffs. It's dropped since the Georgia game. We were like at 48%, 41, 48%. And then after the loss, it went down to 32. And then after this week, it dropped another 3%. So Tennessee needs to win. If they want to have any aspirations, thoughts, and prayers about going to even Atlanta for the SEC championship, but to the playoffs, they cannot lose this game this Saturday. I'm sorry, they just
Absolutely
can't.
not.
They just can't. They can't go on the road and lose to. And maybe Mississippi State's better than we think they are. I don't. I think they're improved. We talked about that in our preview show at the start of the season. They only won 2 games last year, so there wasn't much place else for them to go further down. They've doubled their win total from last year already, but how improved are they? Are they ready to compete with a team that's in the top 5 of the SEC? Maybe they hang around for a little bit, but I think Tennessee's just got too many weapons for them.
In my opinion, Mississippi State's on track to be most improved team in the SEC, which they are 4-0, but their schedule gets hard after this. They've got us at home, then they got to go to Texas A&M, then they get a bye week and go to Florida, have Texas at home, go to Arkansas. There's three. It's wild to say, but that's three straight winnable football games for Mississippi State right there. I don't think they go 3-0, but those are winnable. But then you finish up with Georgia at Missouri and the Egg Bowl in Starkville. So I think I think Mississippi State has a solid chance of winning 6 or 7 games.
That would
And
be a huge turnaround, seriously.
yeah, and I think every single Mississippi State fan on the planet would take it.
Yeah.
Like
They've not
seriously,
they've not done a whole lot of winning in my lifetime at that school. I remember they were competitive in the 90s under Jackie Sherrill, and we played them in the SEC title game in 98, but
and then when Dan Mullen was there, they were pretty good with Dak
yeah, they got to
Prescott.
number 1 with Dak
Mhm.
Prescott. But other than that, it's just been a flash in the pan, and they're a 5, 6, 7 win a year program. But we'll see. You think Tennessee wins or loses this weekend? What do you think?
I do think we win,
You say that
but
with a little hesitation in your voice, Harbin.
I do because you were rattling off like you're like, man, this isn't any different from other places they've played, like bigger venues like Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina. We don't win there very often. Just
We
point
don't.
blank honest with you, we don't. Josh Apple has not won in Tuscaloosa, in Gainesville, in Athens. Hell, I don't think he's won in Columbia. I think 22 is the only time
It's
we
the only
played.
time they played. You're right. It's the only time they
Yeah.
played there.
Um,
Just the last time they played there before that was 20, but that was Pruitt.
the two biggest road wins for this program under him, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's obviously LSU in 22 and that Missouri throttling and was that
21.
20? Yeah. And we won at Pitt.
The Pitt win was a nice one,
Yeah, that was a good one.
even though the stadium was half empty.
Yeah. And I don't count
And I
Vanderbilt.
was there. That's a huge win. He
Yeah,
overcame me.
yeah, overcame the odds. But that's why I'm hesitant. I've got to see it on the road before I say how I feel about this football team. I do think it is extremely imperative to get up early, which I think we are fairly inclined to do. Blue Chew. Um, anyway, I think we're
What?
fairly inclined to do that just based on our track record the first four games. But I don't want to fall asleep in the middle of the second quarter or the beginning of the third quarter and let the crowd get back into it. And I say we get up 17 early, and all of a sudden you're up four into the third quarter, and the place is rocking. Nobody wants that. But I think you stop the run, and you're able to control the line of scrimmage. Well, control the line of scrimmage on both sides. Be able to run it down their throat a little bit, take a little bit of the pressure off Aguilar in his first road game. Make sure they're not gashing you and getting explosive plays. And I know this kind of sounds crazy with our secondary, but make the quarterback beat you. That's just kind of is what it is. And the secondary is going to have to play better. We're getting to the part in our schedule where they're going to have to nut up.
I have to
And
figure it out.
yeah, and Heupel, I loved what he said today. Somebody was talking about all the injuries.
Yes.
He said nobody's worried about that. Like the only thing that matters is the 11 you got out there. Because if you lose, nobody's going to be like, well, yeah, but there ain't none of that. Like we got who we got, and that's how it's going to be. Period. So we got Hood and Redmond on the ends, and Hood's been very good, but either Redmond's going to have to grow up quick, which I do think he's going to be a very good player. He's just young.
Yeah.
He's going to have to grow up quick, or you're going to have to scheme up a little bit of help on that side of the field. And I don't necessarily know if Mississippi State has any studs at receiver. Do you have the answer to that question?
I can look.
I mean, I'm
I
sure
don't
they've got
think
some
they
good.
do, but
I'm sure they've got some good ones. Obviously, they're an SEC team. But yeah, I think I'm guilty of this. I think we put a little bit too much thought into this every once in a while. Most of the time, talent prevails, and we're just a better football team than they are.
their leading receivers, Brennan Thompson, 17 receptions for 291 yards and three touchdowns. Anthony Evans the third, 21 receptions, 290 yards, two touchdowns. One of their tight ends has a couple touchdowns. They've had eight total passing touchdowns on the year. It's not really that many. Um, in comparison, Chris Brazel's had a great season for Tennessee out of the gate. I don't have his stats right in front of me, but well, it doesn't look like they have anybody that's just tearing it up.
I'm sure it'll be somebody's breakout game.
My dad always says we make an All-American out of somebody
Yeah, it's
all
like
the time.
it's like a damn Missouri running back a couple years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. Let's see what Brazel's at right here real quick before we move on, Harbin. Brazel's at 426 yards receiving. 25 receptions, 426 yards. Basically, he's doubled up this guy. Six touchdowns. Staley's at 21 for 281. So our second and third leading receivers are Staley and Matthews, and they have pretty much they have more yards receiving than Mississippi State's leading receiver. So that kind of tells you where the two offenses are right now.
Yeah, but you gotta go into this game with your chickens in a row.
Yeah. Hey, I was looking up here while you were talking, and the line popped up on ESPN Bet at 7.5 for Tennessee.
I'm glad you said that. I just looked on MGM and it's 8.5. So
Moving around a little, fluctuating.
yeah, it's gonna be anywhere. I am kind of curious to see if it'll drastically drop or go up.
Over under 62 and a half. It's a lot of points. That's the high. Well, Notre Dame and Arkansas is at 65 and a half. So it's
Take the
second
over in that
highest.
game.
Yeah.
You
There
think
ain't
our
no defense in that game.
you think our defense is bad? Good God.
Arkansas's is worse.
All right.
Speaking of Arkansas, Harb, let's move on to the power rankings. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So last week, just very quickly to recap, Harb had Georgia at 1 and Kentucky at 16. I think you had Tennessee at what, 2,
Hmm.
Oklahoma 3, LSU 4. We won't get into the rest. Well, I got them right here. A&M 5, Texas 6, Missouri 7, Mississippi State 8, Bama 9, Vandy 10, Auburn 11, Ole Miss 12, Florida 13, Arkansas 14, South Carolina 15, Kentucky 16. So we're moving into week 4. What do you got?
There's not a ton of movement because there wasn't a lot of big games and a quarter of the conference didn't play. Uh, I'm more inclined to talk about this in tiers. And the bottom feeders, in my opinion, are the bottom four. I think no matter how you dice it up, as of we've had a month to look at this. The four worst teams in the conference, in order, in my opinion, are Kentucky, South Carolina, Arkansas, and Florida. South Carolina's bad, dude.
Yeah.
Golly.
The
And
predictions were way off.
oh yeah, and I don't want to put my hand up and be like, I told you so. But
But
I've
you
been calling
did.
this for a while. Like Shane Beamer, still Shane Beamer. Hell, I think by the end of the year, South Carolina fans are going to be praying to God he takes that Virginia Tech job.
He might be playing his way out of that one.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Kentucky 16, South Carolina 15, Arkansas 14, and I was really close to bumping them up a few spots this week. And then they go and lose to Memphis. They cross the Mississippi and lose to Memphis. You just can't do that if you want to be considered halfway competitive in the SEC. You just can't. And
Trump didn't get the National Guard to Memphis in time to help Arkansas, did he?
I was talking with a buddy of mine at the game. He's an Alabama fan, but he came in. He came into the game with me for the first half, and he was asking about how long the pilot stuff had been on the field and all that good jazz. And I was like, "Yeah, I don't care about that." I was like, "Until they start putting patches on jerseys, and which is gonna just completely ruin the college football jersey." But I was like, "What's really funny is Arkansas will have a Walmart logo, and the memes will just write themselves after that."
They got a Walmart logo on the field.
I know,
Last
but
year they had it. Yeah.
inevitably and
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
inevitably when they get a patch on the jersey, it's just gonna the jokes are just gonna write themselves. And then in the middle of the pack in this conference is so hard to rank. You and I were talking about that before we recorded. There's some teams that I've got at 12 and 11 that I think are just better than that, but they haven't done anything for me to bump them up. Like I'm not necessarily ranking who I think is best. It's kind of eye test. It's kind of resume. It's my list. If you don't like it, you can make your own. Uh,
Exactly.
but at 12, I have Ole Miss.
Wow.
They just haven't shown me a whole lot. Now they did put in their backup quarterback this past week, and they look good. But and yeah, they're 2-0 in the conference, but it was single possession wins over Kentucky and Arkansas. I just can't reward you much if that's your two conference wins. And then at 11, I've got Auburn, and I do think Auburn is better than this ranking. I will get ahead of that and say that because I think Oklahoma's legit. Auburn's offensive line's not good though. It's not good. They Jackson Arnold was running for his life against Oklahoma for the majority of that game, and I think he actually played pretty good, all things considered. They had a chance to win that football game and just didn't. But in my opinion, that's a fairly quality loss for Auburn. Oklahoma's not an easy place to play, and especially when they're good. These are all subject to change once we get into the meat of conference play. But at 10, I've got Texas. I just still not sold on them. I think their defense is good enough to semi carry them throughout the season. But the reason I've got Texas at 10 is Arch Manning finally looked good this weekend. He put up some good numbers, but he scored, and then he like Allen Iverson stood over a Sam Houston defender and stared him down.
I almost made him my hater and loser of the week, which we'll get to later, but I didn't. But he
He's
was
a good
very close.
honorable
He was a
mention.
nominee.
Yeah, because dude, like you can't have seven different commercials going on during your game and be staring down a Sam Houston DB.
They're in FCS. What is
Yeah,
he doing?
that's weak in my opinion.
And he
Which
like shoved one
no,
of his coaches too. Not like shoved him mad, like shoved him after he scored. Like where's all this piss and vinegar been all year out of him?
yeah.
Shows up for Sam Houston State Bobcats.
9, I've got Vandy. We're getting into that weird spot where you just don't really know where to put teams. Vandy's looked very good. Like I think 8 or 9 wins is on the table for them. Uh,
Possible, yeah.
but they still haven't really played anybody. Their best win, which is what everybody kind of woke up again on Vandy, I guess, was South Carolina. And in that game, they lost their only player that's worth a shit. So I don't know how
That
good of a
that
win.
win doesn't look as good as it did last week.
No, but they did look good.
But you're right. Yes.
They did look good. So I'm not bad mouthing them. Yeah, got them at 9. 8, I've got Mississippi State. I've said they're staying idle at 8 for me. They've got one of the better wins in the conference so far this year. You're kind of denoting Arizona State. No matter which way you slice it, they were number 12 when they played. I understand it was week 2 and rankings are a little finicky and whatnot, but I still expect Arizona State to be in the mix to win the Big 12. So I've got them there. We've got our hands full this weekend. You got to go in there and take care of business. 7, I've got Alabama. I think I moved them up actually. Uh,
You did.
they are starting to look good. They still haven't played anybody. They're on bye this week. Got a huge test against Georgia in Athens for a night game. That line opened up at 3. That's a little fishy to me, don't you think?
A little, yeah. Where's that game at?
Athens.
That's right. Well, yeah. I'm staying in Tuscaloosa. Duh. Sorry. Been a long week.
No, you're good. That line's fishy, but that can shake a lot of stuff up. Like there's a very possible scenario where Georgia beats us, Bama beats Georgia, and then we beat Alabama. And it's just a conglomeration of crap that you don't really know what to do with. I don't expect that to happen. Truthfully, I think Georgia handles their business. I don't know if they do it running away or if they just do what needs to be done, but I've got Georgia in that game. I suppose we'll see. I think Georgia's front 7 is going to make it hell on Bama's offensive line, especially John. Is it John Proctor? Whatever that big left tackle's name is. I know it's
Yeah, I think
Proctor.
something, yeah.
Anyhow, 6, I've got Missouri. They're passing the eye test, kinda. ish.
kind of.
They beat South Carolina by 9 this weekend. South Carolina is not good, but they handled business in a night game in the conference. Can't knock them a whole lot on that, but the jury's still out on Missouri. Like they could go from 6 to 12 pretty quick. But as of right now, they got wins over South Carolina and Kansas, which the further the season goes along, I don't think that South Carolina win's going to carry much water for them. But that's where I've got them. And I think the top five and the bottom four, the easiest to rank, not necessarily in order, but I think the top five in the conference are the top five in the conference. And I'm actually going to switch it up on you last minute. At five, I'm going to go LSU.
Mm.
I'm not sold on them. That Clemson win is getting worse and worse. Or the Syracuse win's getting better for us. Which one is it?
Time will tell.
Syracuse looked pretty good. And Clemson's just bad. And them getting beat by 2 touchdowns at home to that Syracuse team about what, like 3 days after Dabo went on that rant
Yeah.
about what you gonna do, fire me? You gonna get tired of winning? That aged like milk out in the sun. I don't know where they go from here. That shit could get ugly quick, or they could turn around and salvage the season a little bit. But either way, LSU just haven't looked that impressive. And I think Garrett Nussmeier was a little overrated as well.
He was.
But if they turn around and beat Bama and like Ole Miss or somebody, then I can change my tone about them real quick. But for now, that's where I've got them. And at four, I've got Texas A&M. Um, their quarterback's good. Did they even play this weekend?
This coming weekend,
No, this past weekend.
they were off this week,
That's
past
what I
weekend.
thought.
Oh yeah, no, they were off. They host
Yeah,
Auburn this weekend.
yeah. So they slide up one spot.
Didn't even play and moved up. What about that?
They slide up, and thanks to Clemson.
Fair enough.
And at three, I've got Tennessee, moving them down one spot. The defense is suspect. The offense looks great, but I think Oklahoma had the best win of the weekend, and that's why I've got them at number two. It's a hard fought game at home against Auburn. John Mateer is special. I think that defense is a little bit better than what people are giving it credit for down there in uh, Norman. I've got them at two. And at one, staying idle's Georgia. Got a massive game this upcoming weekend against Bama. Night games are rare in Athens. I think they're wearing their black jerseys. That place is going to be loud. We'll see. I thought Georgia was going to handle them pretty good, and the more I think about it, that game might be a little bit of a barn burner. So we'll see. But that's my rankings.
Before I get into mine, I'm looking. They have the here on the schedule the ticket prices for Tennessee at Mississippi State. You can find a ticket as low, and I don't know what site this is through. Ticket as low as $83 for Alabama at Georgia. You can find a ticket as low as $442.
Jeez.
And if you want to go to Vandy and watch Utah State, the Aggies take on the Commodores, you can find a ticket for as low as $22. What a deal. Well, my power rankings, Harv, is going to differ just a little bit from yours. And I'm sure everybody else's differs a little bit from both of ours. So I'll start at the bottom. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about these teams. I got Kentucky at 16, Florida at 15, lost to Miami. They couldn't move the ball at all. The offense is bad. Billy Napier, I don't know what's going to happen with them or with him. I've got South Carolina at 14. They do not look good as well. A lot of issues going on down there. Fought hard against Missouri at Missouri, led in the late in the second half, but couldn't figure out a way to win. And I'm with you on Arkansas, and we talked about this before we started recording. I've got them at 13, but I honestly wanted to move them up higher because I think they're better than that, but they're not winning football games and they're finding ways to lose that they shouldn't. And they also lost to Memphis State. So you get no points for me for losing to that program. So they're at 13.
Now
Uh,
Memphis is pretty good. I forgot to mention that.
yeah, I mean they're a good group of four team,
I think
but
they have the highest percentage to get the group of four playoff spot. So
I did not know that. Well, there you go.
yeah.
Good for them. Let's see. 12 through 9, I've got Tennessee's opponent this weekend, Mississippi State at 12. Again, Harb said I'm not giving Arizona State much love. I'm kind of not because I just don't know a whole lot about them. They might be better. I know they were good last year and they lost Scattaboo and um but honestly, I thought they were better than Mississippi State and they walked into Davis Wade Stadium and lost. So maybe Mississippi State's better than we think, but I've got them at 12. If they beat Tennessee this weekend, I'll obviously move them up, but they got to prove it to me first. I dropped Auburn to 11, and not just because they lost, but we said it last week. I'm a little suspect about their offense. Jackson Arnold's not really throwing the football at a very high clip right now. But Auburn's better than they were last year. I'll give them that. But I don't think they're a top 10 team right now in the conference. They could be. They got a tough one this weekend on the road at Texas A&M. And it looks like A&M is favored by 6.5. So two back-to-back tough games on the road for Auburn. Um, I've got Missouri at 10. I bumped them up a couple spots. I had them at 12 last week. I'm with Harb. Missouri's the show me state, right? They got to show us some stuff still. I mean, that was a gritty win against South Carolina, but again, South Carolina's not very good. You were at home. It was a night game, and we walked into a restaurant at Market Square last night in the second half, and they were behind. I looked at the TV. I was like, Missouri's losing to South Carolina? Come on. So I thought that was like justifying my ranking of having them at 12, but they found a way to win, so I bumped them up a little bit out of respect for their win-loss record. Moved Texas up to 9. They did only beat Sam Houston State or whoever they played this weekend, and Arch Manning was trying to swell up on a cornerback that he semi ran over as he trotted into the end zone, but I still think they've got issues. I mean, you don't prove anything by beating up on a FCS team at home. So I've moved them up to 9 simply by attrition by other teams losing. I've bumped Vandy up to 8. I think Vandy's starting to show me some stuff. They beat Georgia State yesterday, a team they lost to at Turner Field last year, and they beat them by what 40, something like that yesterday, Harb, I think. So they're showing some stuff. Again, they hadn't really. You look at their schedule, you think, oh, they played Virginia Tech and South Carolina and beat them. Those are two pretty good wins, and they're not. Those two teams are bad. One of them's coach is fired already. Not there's no good win on that resume right now. But in years past, Vandy loses those games anyway. So if we have to give kudos to Vandy, kudos to them. They're 4-0 and they're feeling good right now. So I've got them at 8. I got Bama at 7. I don't have a lot of faith in them going to Athens this weekend. I think, like you said, Georgia's defensive line is going to eat Alabama's offensive line alive, much like Florida State's did at the first of the season. But for now, I've got them at 7. I've got Ole Miss at 6. I think they looked pretty good yesterday against, oh gosh, who did they play? Tulane.
Yeah.
Yeah, looked pretty good. Backup quarterback played well. I don't know his name right off the top of my head. I went back and forth on this one. I dropped LSU to 4. I had them at 2 last week. So I dropped them to 4 because I'm just not impressed with them. I really wanted to put A&M in front of them, but I didn't move A&M because they didn't play this weekend. But I've got A&M at 5. They host Auburn this weekend. I've got LSU at 4. They travel to Ole Miss. Two big games in the state of Mississippi this weekend. LSU at Ole Miss, Tennessee at Mississippi State. Two historic power programs in the state of Mississippi. I've got Tennessee at 3. That's where they were last week in my power rankings. I think they looked pretty good yesterday, did what they were supposed to do. I think they're easily one of the top 5 teams in the conference. I'm like you. You could put these top 5 teams in a blender and pull one of them out, and besides Georgia at 1, you're like, oh, I see that. I got Oklahoma at 2. I flip flop them and LSU because I think they're better than LSU right now. Offensively, they're all right. They didn't really explode yesterday against Auburn, but their defense is pretty nasty. They're good, as they should be under Brent Venables. So I've got them at 2, and then I've got Georgia staying put at number 1. So not a ton of difference between you and me. It's more in the middle of the pack where we had our differences, but I think it's clear right now Georgia's probably the best team in the conference, and it's clear to both of us. And I think most everybody that the top 5 teams are Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, LSU, and Texas A&M. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and I think it's clear that the bottom 4 are who they are. It's that middle of the pack that's up for grabs right now. So a lot will be decided over the next here in the month of October as we head into almost into October. But big weekend of football around the conference hard really quick. I don't want to not go on too long about this, but Notre Dame's at Arkansas, 12 o'clock kickoff Eastern time. Utah State at Vandy. Notre Dame's favored by 5.5, by the way, against Arkansas. Vandy's 22.5 favorites over Utah State. LSU at Ole Miss. Ole Miss 1.5 point favorites early on. This is ESPN bet.
Is it Ole Miss's favored?
Yes, Ole Miss by 1.5.
Mm.
Auburn at A&M. A&M 6.5 point favorites. Tennessee at State. We mentioned that right now according to ESPN. 7.5 point favorites. Alabama at Georgia. That's a 7:30 kickoff. Georgia is 3.5 point favorites. UMass at Missouri. Another big test for Missouri here. There's no line on this game. And then Kentucky and South Carolina. That's the nightcap. 7:45.
God,
What do you think? Williams-Brice Stadium is half full for this game.
it's gonna be bad.
Let's see who's favored to win by the
I want, I
matchup
want,
predictor.
I want to guess the line.
So South Carolina's 57.9% chance to win this game according to matchup predictor.
You. So that means the line can't be more than.
What, 3? 3 or 4?
It's got to be higher than that, don't it? I'm gonna say
Maybe.
I'll go 3.5.
We'll see. I'm sure it'll come out tomorrow. But
Is it
yeah,
not out?
it's not on ESPN Bet. It's not.
Let
Not
me
gonna
look on
lie.
MGM.
But yeah, that's the SEC lineup this weekend. It's a pretty big weekend. I mean, Alabama, Georgia's pretty big. Auburn at A&M, Tennessee at Mississippi State, Ole Miss and LSU. So pretty well. Notre Dame and Arkansas. How often does Notre Dame travel to Fayetteville? Not very often. I don't
South
remember.
Carolina. South Carolina is a 6.5 point favorite.
Wow. Kentucky's bad, y'all. They're bad. They are not good.
The total is 47.5. That
Ooh.
might that might be a Triple H sledgehammer, slamma jamma banana on the under.
Who you got for a hater and loser of the week? You got
Oh,
one?
I'm sure I do. Yeah, it's the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, easy pickings.
I've watched a lot of bad Cowboys football games in my lifetime. A lot. That right there today, getting beat by the Chicago Bears by 17 at Soldier Field, is top three. Last week, we let Russell Wilson set his career high in passing yards when he had 100 the week before, and he is playing absolutely terrible as we speak in the first half against the Chiefs. Caleb Williams has looked lost. The Bears were dead. He goes for 304 touchdowns, and Ben Johnson gets his first win as Bears coach. It's laughable. Like that secondary, that pass defense is so bad, and it's so frustrating. But hey, we can stop the run. That's why Jerry Jones traded Micah Parsons so we could get better at stopping the run. And we signed Jadeveon Clowney this week.
Ooh, I
Jadeveon
had no
Clowney.
idea that dude was still playing.
Speaking of South Carolina, it'd have been cool 7 years ago. Nah, it's just not. I've never once gotten legitimate joy out of professional football, and I just think that that is going to continue till the end of times. I've got an idea. I think we should release. I think we should release a fake Epstein list, and it's just the entire Jones family. That way, they've got to give up the team because when Jerry passes away, that won't be for another 30 years because he's getting injected with lamb's blood. He'll be 130 years old. Then it'll go to Stephen. It'll be the same crap. They'll probably get passed down to him or his sister's kids, and it's repulsive. It's a it's the most valuable sports franchise in the world, maybe next to Barcelona and Real Madrid. And you let Caleb Williams go for 304 touchdowns on you. It's embarrassing.
Maybe Jerry Jones should just go into acting. Have you seen his scene on Landman, the show Landman? It was great.
Yeah, he's so good.
The Dallas Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in the world.
Our two and
Estimated at
three
estimated over $12 billion.
is is Real Madrid and I want to say like Man City up there now, Manchester City.
As of 2024, the Cowboys, oh gosh, what's going on here? Computer's going haywire, Harp. The Cowboys were worth 10.1 billion. Well, these are all American. Well, no, they're not. I don't know how accurate this is. Number two, the Golden State Warriors at 8.8 billion. This is from Forbes, so maybe it
Well,
is.
well, the guy
LA
that
Rams,
well the guy that owns Oracle is now the richest man in the world.
the
So
Ram, the Los Angeles Rams at 7.6 billion, Yankees at 7.5 billion, Knicks at 7.5, Patriots 7.4, Giants 7.3, Lakers 7.1, Jets 6.9.
nice.
And the 49ers at 6.8. Real Madrid is the first foreign team on here worth 6.6 billion, right in front of Manchester United at 6.5 billion. How in God's name is some of these teams ahead of my Chicago Cubs? This doesn't make I cannot believe that the Tennessee Titans are worth more than the Chicago Cubs. I refuse to believe that. There is no way I'm reading this. I must have missed the Cubs on this list. There's
Would
no way.
would you rather live in Nashville or Chicago?
I would live in the north side of Chicago, but that would be it. You know, Trump said it best, it's a hellhole. I cannot be reading this right. In what world are the Phoenix Suns worth more than the Chicago Cubs? Anyways, my hater and loser of the week is I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, is Sarad Bryant. He's a safety for UAB. After an extra point by Tennessee's kicker Max Gilbert, Mr. Bryant decided to walk up and stomp on Max Gilbert's foot yesterday. I don't know why he decided to do this, but what an idiot. Now I'll give him a little credit here, Harbin. He did apologize after the game for his quote inexcusable act. He apologized specifically to Gilbert. He went on to apologize to a range of other people affiliated with UAB in an Instagram post on September 20th. First off, I would like to apologize to Matt Gilbert for stepping on his foot. No, you didn't step on it, you stomped on it. Not only that, I would like to apologize to my teammates, coaches, and to Blazer Nation. What I did was inexcusable no matter the circumstances. I am better than that and take full accountability for my actions. It is not a representation of who I am as a player and a person. Why? Like, what was going through this kid's mind to even do that? Like, why? Hater and loser of the week. And there's a lot of other people. I was really wanting to put Arch Manning in for trying to swell up on that defensive back from Sam Houston State.
Yeah, it was
But
pretty
I
bad.
thought I thought this one was a lot dumber than that. I mean, that's saying a lot. So
Do you see where Trent Dilfer kind of just he didn't shrug it off, but he didn't really say anything about the kid stomping on his foot.
I didn't see that.
They asked him about it in the post game presser, and he was like, "Man, I've seen Instagram clips. I want to see the full footage before I really say anything." He said, "But that's completely unacceptable, and he will deal with it." It was just
They
kind of
also had a kid that was ejected from the game for targeting on a kickoff. They just speared one of our players in the head and was ejected. Like, or was it a punt? I can't remember what. I think it was a punt.
there's
It was,
one of the
yeah, we were up 14 to nothing. I remember that. And I looked up and I said, wait, what just happened? I couldn't hear the referee, but I saw him do this. Um, but yeah, they had a couple like head scratching moments for the Blazers. I'm looking up the Cubs here, Har. This is bothering me. I looked the Cubs up. It says they're worth 4.6 billion, but they're nowhere here on this list by Forbes in 2024 at 4.6 billion. The Red Sox are here at 4.5. Behind the Jaguars? Really? This list, something's wrong with this list.
I guess more money's in football.
I guess. All right. That's all I got for this week, Harb. I'm heading to Starkville on Friday. If you're down there, give us a shout. Well, not on Friday. I won't be in Starkville on Friday. We'll be in Starkville on Saturday. So if you're down there, give us a shout. We'll be down there. I'll try to bring some JWTDG koozies with me. I have no stickers. My uncle swears up and down he gave me a handful. He did not. They're nowhere to be found. I only had 6 yesterday to hand out. People were furious. Some were saying I should nominate Dr. Neese as Hater and Loser of the Week, but I'm not doing that to my own flesh and blood, Harb. I can't do that.
I mean, push comes to shove. Sometimes you got to do it to family.
Maybe if I
I'm
keep,
not saying you have to in this particular instance, but sometimes it can come down to that.
I might backdoor this thing and have you nominate him. We'll work the back channels.
I can. Well, I will say, if we go down to Starkville and lose because there was no stickers,
Can I reuse my sticker? So the sticker I wore yesterday was from ETSU and UAB. Can I wear that one?
yeah, that one's got the good juju on it.
I left the Georgia ones hanging in here in my washroom. It's on the wall. I look at it to remind me of the pain of the loss.
Let it fuel you for the rest of the season.
At least this week.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done, Harbin. Good tailgate yesterday. Thanks to everybody that showed up. Keaton and them boys were there. Shout out to him. So they show up every week. Although we gotta get rid of his White Sox hat. I don't like that. Gotta get rid of that.
He's a Reds fan.
Wearing a White Sox. Why is he wearing a White Sox hat?
He has worn a White Sox hat for years.
Kind of his thing, I guess.
Yeah, I think
I will allow it.
he just likes the hat.
We'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Now, I will say there are some baseball hats that I really enjoy of teams that I'm not a fan of. Like
Who's
one
your
of my
favorite?
first,
Who's your favorite one?
I don't know if I have like legit favorite, but one that I really love, and it's hard to admit because it's a division rival, but Toronto. Those
That's a
hats are
good
so
one.
good. And then I love the Pirates hats. They're just clean, crisp. I like the P. Um, uh, yeah, there's a few that I like, but those are probably the top two. And Milwaukee, I like Milwaukee's hats.
Milwaukee's a good one.
Yeah.
Always, I guess because it's a classic, I always kind of like the Dodgers hat. It's simple. It's got the LA interlocking LA. But my favorite one in baseball, besides the Cubs, which the Cubs hat, it's just a C, not a lot to it. My favorite hat, this team's not even in it. Well, the franchise is in existence, but the team name is not. Montreal Expos.
Yeah,
Great hat. Great logo.
that's a good one.
Maybe they'll come back one day. There's rumors of Montreal getting an expansion team or a team moving up there. I don't know that that'll happen, but it could. And the NFL, the throwback jerseys, the Bucks had theirs on today with the swashbuckling pirate, the orange creamsicle jerseys. Those were
Oh
awesome.
God, yeah, those are top notch.
The Redskins are going to wear their throwbacks a few times this year, sans the Redskins logo, which is a shame. But they're wearing those jerseys again at some point. They should bring those back permanently, in my opinion. I'm missing.
Um, the Jags wore their throwbacks today.
They did. I saw that. They did, and I think that the Eagles wear those Kelly green ones every now and then. They
Yeah,
didn't wear them today, but
those
they
are
will
ugly.
wear them.
Those are ugly.
The
They're not
Reggie
ugly.
White, the Reggie White era Kelly
They're not ugly.
greens.
I just hate the Eagles.
Uh, but some good uniforms out there right now. I like it when they do that stuff. So maybe Tennessee will get a throwback classic at some point. We'll see. The Vols.
Uh, the uh, the Browns are 1-0 when wearing brown head to toe.
Yeah, they wore, Mississippi State's wearing all white this weekend. The Browns wore brown from head to toe this weekend.
I like it.
Unbelievable.
I like it.
All right, Harb, I'm out. Appreciate everybody listening. Thank you to those who comment on the YouTube channel. Be sure to check us out there, like and subscribe. You can listen to us anywhere on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, all those places. Be sure to check us out there. Share this podcast. If you don't care, leave us a comment. Maybe we'll read it on the air next week. So appreciate everybody listening. For Harb, I'm Nice. We'll see you guys next week here on the Section YY8 podcast.